next session, the 1:30 session. There are some matches still going on from the previous session, so we're working around those. On table number 2, Lee Briscoe, Connor Tracy. Lee Briscoe, Connor Tracy, table number 2. On table number 3, Ryan Bodsworth, Liam Leach. Ryan Bodsworth, Liam Leach, table 3. On table 5, Oliver Lawrence, Steve Oxley. Oliver Lawrence, Steve Oxley, table number 5. On table number 7, Jamie McDonald, Jez Graham. Jamie McDonald, Jez Graham, table 7. On table number 9, Declan Brennan, Paul Davies. Paul Davies, Declan Brennan, table number 9. On table 11, Jamie O'Donnell, Gary Fenton. Jamie O'Donnell, Gary Fenton, table 11. On table 12, Andy Barker, Matt Peel. Andy Barker, Matt Peel, table 12. On table 13, Zach Shepherd, Govinda Gill. Gubby Gill, Zach Shepherd on table 13. On table 16, Martin Wood, Aki Khan. Martin Wood, Aki Khan, table 16. On table 17, Neil Raybone, Joe Nulty. Neil Raybone, Joe Nulty, table 17. On table 18, Rich Lauber, John Herridge. Rich Lauber, John Herridge, table 18. On table 19, Mike Larkins, Phil Harrison. Mike Larkins, Phil Harrison, table 19. On table 20, Elliot Coombe, John Egan. Elliot Coombe, John Egan on table 20. And finally for now on table 1, stream table, Jake McCartney, John Rowe. Jake McCartney, John Rowe, table number 1. The remaining matches will get on as soon as the tables become free. Next match on table number 8, Lackbaden, JJ Fall. Lackbaden, JJ Fall, table 8.
So the second game of the weekend, and it is currently at the table,
Table 15,
John Rowe,
Barker,
and he's playing
Barker,
the Australian phenom, Jake McCartney.
in the side room.
So you would probably put Jake in his favourite in this game, but actually John is very, very good play. He's got a huge break. Obviously another ex-world champion. Some really good lineups today. Already seen Alex Lewis beating Gareth Hibbert. Here we are, John Rowe versus Jake McCartney. Next up on stream is Shane Thompson versus Scott Gillespie. I think he's just got enough angle here. Didn't want to be straight, and I think he's just okay. He can punch us across. So a number of games have now finished, and already players that have progressed through into the second round. John McAllister's through there, Clint Ianson. Interestingly, they're not far apart in the draw, so they will clash in a couple of games' time if they keep winning. Karen Barada. Lee Kendall's had a walkover. Ben Flack's beaten Nathan Ellis. Adam Toms 6-3 up against Sean Morris. Mike King's through. Jamie Clements through against Daniel Bishop. Enrico Forgione, we know, is through. Callum Singleton as well. Matt Barcock's beaten Jonathan Coleman 7-4. And Jamie Graham, having been 5-4 down, he won the next three and went through 7-5. Neil Davey, who incidentally was, I believe, 5 frames to 1 up against Neil Wren. Neil Wren's now leading 6 frames to 5. Interesting to see how he plays this. It's one of those you can't get to the actual potting angle, but you can force it in off the knuckle. It's just whether he can see enough of the ball. In fact, all he did was just double kiss it into a slightly better position. Adam Basu is 6-4 behind against Scott Yardley. Dan Eaton Lease has won his game. That was six apiece, and he's now won that one 7-6 against Lee Howitt. So this event actually spread across 3 rooms. So obviously extracted the foul snooker came, and John Rowe could nominate the black, play the plant onto the yellow and leave the black over the pocket, and he wins the first frame.
Next match on table number 4, Mark Price, Danny Davies. Mark Price, Danny Davies, table number 4.
Jake breaks in off. Didn't get kicked in. Just straight across to the side rail.
Next match on table number 10, Paul Keeping, Tom Price. Paul Keeping, Tom Price, table number 10.
I think he may try and nudge the red out, just screw off the bottom and side cushions. If he hits that red 4 ball, then he's going to be guaranteed to be on the other. That's what he played. Just nudges it a couple of inches, it makes it so much easier. Declan Brennan, Scott Gillespie, both watching on. dear. All the power on the break, but didn't even seem to time them too badly. It may be just that perhaps they weren't quite set properly. Maybe just a small gap between a couple of the balls that can do that, can have that effect. And just haven't gone anywhere. I guess the one good thing when you do break like that and go dry, then there's a lot of work for your opponent. Jake ripping through the pack, trying to open everything up. Actually, that may not be a bad result. Now I think everything goes. If he can get through the gap to the one furthest left to middle and take that out now, which I think he can, then it's still tricky. He's still got that cluster in the middle, but now again, if he's found the gap, may just have been a tiny bit fortunate. I think he has left this gap, you know. He's had a touch there for sure. Wouldn't have been playing for that gap, but the fact he had it has left him pretty much perfect, because he could just drop that in and play for the gap, leave the plant. That's another one that's got away. Next match on, Shane Thompson versus Scott Gillespie. Then at 6 o'clock, that should be a great game between Mark Thrussell and Oli Bell. And then Greg Batten versus Carl Morris is our 7:30 game. That's another cracker. Some super action today. Look at the cushion first. So in fact, 2 cushion first. And when you pot most of the balls and leave the table open, then you suddenly become a very big underdog for the frame. John Rowe can pretty much do whatever he wants here. I think he'll probably go on the attack, but he certainly doesn't need to. There are plenty of defensive options available. Yeah, he's going to glance off the red. Wow, that looks very clumsy. I think he's left this gap for Jake. So many balls to hide behind. Look at that. Jake just should not have this chance. Again, options were limited. Very, very tough. Trying to screw the cue ball to side rail and find the gap. And it was a fine gap. So now suddenly again, John Rowe becomes a very, very big favourite for this frame. Now Jake with just one ball left on the table. And even more so now with 2 visits. Ball in hand. Expect this to be 3-0. Adam Basu, having been way behind against Scott Yardley, he's levelled things up at 6 frames each. Just a touch under. Really another 2 or 3 inches of pace would have been ideal, but again, he can just drop it, play the cannon, just control it, control the pace, and leave this simple red and black. Which he navigates successfully, and he extends his lead to 3 frames, and it's 3-0 to John Rowe over Jake McCartney. And Jake quickly needs to find his feet. Neil Davies won the 12th frame, and now that's a hill-hill game against Neil Wren. Jake McCartney, who needs to find something in this game, has a chance. I think he probably needs to play a little cannon just into the red and yellow. Again, needs to be careful where the cue ball's going. Yeah, that's okay. Played at the right weight. knew that he'd be left with something. If not a choice, he would definitely be left with a shot.
He's trying to get here sort of like afternoon. He's going to work things out. He won't get any earlier, but it won't be evening. It'll be early afternoon, like, you know what I mean? So whenever he gets here. So what I'll do is find him.
Everything's on.
So good, well good.
And why don't you go? Maybe wrong.
What's the plan? What's going to happen there when Gary gets here? Paul Wyatt. I don't know what time Paul
So
Wyatt.
Jamie Graham, having won his match earlier, 7 frames to 5. His brother Jez now in action. Just like Jamie, he's got his back to the wall already. He's 3 frames to 1 behind. Gary Fenton in action against Jamie O'Donnell. I was just talking to Gary actually a few moments ago, and he rushed off to his game. He's also trading 3 frames to 1.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So, look, if you want, if they know what time they're coming up. Keep it on them ones. Yeah. We've got some off already, haven't we?
And then 14 is currently 6 all. God bless him. Shane Thompson in the room. Is Shane at you?
So easy pickings for John Rowe at the moment. Jake just not at the races. 4 frames to 0. Jake McCartney now, this is a must-win frame, and you have to say that he's a big favourite to win here and get himself on the board. That's okay, that's probably just nudged that yellow far enough to leave. Yeah, it just opened them up enough. So probably, if he's got the angle, he'll want to play around the back of the yellow to the right of these two and take the other one next. Take your pick. Straight one to corner or straight one to corner. Good stuff from Jake. Nice clearance. Gets his first frame. Still trails by 3. It's 4 frames to 1. As he did in his first frame, he lost the cue ball. He's done exactly the same again there. Stretching his shoulders, trying to loosen up a bit. Maybe just feeling a bit tight. Maybe just annoyed. Can't make those mistakes. Could it be the first 2 games have gone the way of the underdog? Alex Lewis the underdog in the first frame. John Rowe the underdog in this one on paper. Not in many people's eyes. I think this was a very even game, but certainly Jake is the form player. Of course, to his name, a world championship title at these very rules. course, 9 years now since he won that world title. 2012. Seems so long ago. Of course, that year, John Rowe beat Lee Kendall in the world final. I know Lee won't thank me for reminding him of that one. It was still stings to this day. Of course, that world title list dominated over the last 6 or 7 years by Mick Hill. 4 of the last 5 titles, of course the other one going in 2016 to Sean Chipperfield. Makes you wonder what's going to happen next year, whether he can recreate that again. Will he win another world title, do you think? Does he still carry that kind of form in these fields? I think as the game's so open now. He just does seem to have a knack to be able to turn it on for that weekend, though. To find it when it really matters. Who'd put it against him to win a 7th? John Rowe again. In. Needs to just take care here. Unavoidable. You could just avoid the cannon, actually. I thought it was an unavoidable cannon, but you could just screw past. So this actually isn't too bad. He just in digging into that ball's probably just gone an inch too far. If he was dead straight here, he could just stun it in. just finish at the wrong angle on that last ball, which could well cost him this frame. Meant he had to just play that red a little thinner and lost the cue ball again. Just, it's amazing what kind of one tiny little positional error, just an inch out of position from being exactly where he wanted to be. Had he been dead straight on the one to the left corner, it would have just been drop in, drop in, drop in. Just that 1 inch the other side has caused him so many problems. Game of very fine margins. It's an old cliche, but so true. Somehow the game between Neil Wren and Neil Davey that started at 11:59 is still going on. Locked up at 6 frames apiece. These last 2 frames have taken the best part of an hour. And a lifeline really for Jake. At 6-1 behind, this was, well, it was all but done. (5-2) with the break in the next, so well, he's now got a bit of a sniff in the match, whereas had John been clinical there, 6-1, as I say, it's all over. Declan Brennan has done a job on Paul Davis. He's won 7 frames to 0. Phil Harrison is 5-0 up on Mike Larkins. He'll definitely want to take reds here. Not anything in the way of an easy opener. The one on the bulk line to the left, he can play that to middle. So it looks like he doesn't fancy that. I think he's just going to... Didn't play a great shot at all. Needed that yellow inside the red to try and take the pocket. awkward queuing. And doesn't offer much in the way of a positional shot either. I think all he can do here is play the yellow nearest the pocket off the knuckle just to get that yellow ball over the pocket. Try and take a tactical advantage. And no more attacking options from here. Gets the cover in successfully. I think John's left the angle through to the yellow over the pocket, and I think Jake will probably fire from here. I think he's pretty much forced into it. Definitely not an ideal cue ball. Left it stuck up under the top cushion. Doesn't have to do too much, can just run this down. There's a big pocket. Oh. At least you can see the funny side. And as I say, that was always the problem when you're playing from that cushion. You have to just play across the top of the ball, and John's calling for a foul snooker.
Oh, doesn't do it, George. Doesn't do it.
Ah, you know, that could be. Not sure what the answer was. Yes, the answer is yes, it was. So basically John can't see both sides of any of his balls, so that means that it's a foul snooker. He gets the option to nominate one of Jake's, or he can pick up the cue ball and put it in a more favourable position. So even if the one of the target balls is covered by one of your own balls, then it's still a foul snooker. You have to be able to see both sides of at least one of your balls. Again, everything here is still just not quite perfect. This is a little thinner than he'd like. The cue ball's going to be running away from where he wants it to be. Was just able to kill it, and now, well, he should be fairly plain sailing. I think he can pop the one closest to the pocket and screw back. He can develop the red on the side if he wants to, but I don't think he will. Still carrying the two visits, of course, so under no pressure to try and develop that ball. I think for me, actually this is the right shot because he can develop the black here. Well, needs to take care with this one. Problem is here, if he doubles it back towards the middle, then the cue ball's going to be running. If he doubles it toward, just nudge it off the cushion. It was just one of those that they can go wrong, those developing shots. Again, navigates it with no drama, and now is on the hill. John Rowe leads Jake McCartney 6 frames to 2. See the other scores. James Graham from being behind 3-1, now 4-3 ahead. Neil Raybone 4-1 against Joe Nalty. So John Rowe about to break off on the hill in a very comfortable position. So the players shake hands, and that really was a convincing win from John Rowe. Well done to him. Just checking each other's shirts. What's going on there then? Oh, dear me. They're just checking each other's sizes there. They say they're going to trade shirts afterwards. I thought it was like after a football match when they swap shirts. Anyway, next up on the action is going to be Shane Thompson against Scott Gillespie. But in the meantime, we're going to go and catch a few words with John Rowe. We will speak to you down there very shortly.
Oh well, sure. Nelly probably would have fucked it
joined by John after that. John, you always know you're going to get a tough game against Jake, but actually that one went well for you.
Yeah, it did. I mean, the last 2 times I've played him, we've had some really good matches. There's been nothing in him, and he's played really faultless, and I've played really well to have a chance with him. But that one, he just let me off a little bit early on.
Yeah.
And just sort of, I just thought it was a bit weird. I just sort of managed to do enough to get over the line, really. Even though it was a few frames in the score, still felt like it could turn quite quickly. When you're playing someone like Jake, 'cause obviously he can roll off the frame so quickly on you. Yeah. And then that one mistake can cost you 3 frames a lot of the time. So you're always sort of wary of that in the back of your mind. Especially being the first match. It's not the best first match to have, when you try to settle down sort of thing. So, but I was glad to beat him because I definitely owed him one. After the last couple of times.
So obviously 9 years now since your World Championship. You've never really been away from the scene, but it seems to be a bit of a re-emergence of John Rowe's game. I mean, you're obviously on the ultimate pool, and I noticed some really big results coming there. Starting to build again, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I'd say like 9 years ago, I sort of didn't stop playing, but I definitely lost a bit of interest in being able to play as much. Having like now, I'll probably play more than I've ever played since then. And but I just didn't play as much. I say I've got a club, so that takes a lot of a lot of things take time up in life, and practicing has to go to the back a little bit. But with what's happened with the ultimate pool, it's just I think it's done it for a lot of players. Made them want to play, put a little bit more effort in. And I'm one of them, and hope it feels like I'm sort of starting again a little bit. You know what I mean? Like gradually trying to build up my experience of playing a better players again, because there was a long time when you sort of go to tournaments that you just in a way just try to cop a few quid sort of thing, but you don't always play the best players, the ones that properly punish everything, where you lose a match and you think, well, I've only made one mistake, I've lost the whole match for it, and you don't get that. But now we're getting that a bit more regular basis, and there's a lot of players want to be part of it, and I'm definitely one of them. I'm getting on a bit, but still, just it's nice to have a bit of buzz, and when you find that bit of form, it's really nice.
So, does it help you having your own club, or hinder you more?
Hinder massively.
Does it really?
Yeah. The last, say, 9 years, it's like you go in there to try, like people say, oh yeah, you got a table and all that, but you go in there and you don't concentrate on practicing. There's always something going on. Everything happens around you. It's like you got sonar, you know what I mean? You feel everything in the club when you're there, and you can't concentrate. But now we've sort of dedicated sort of a table where we can practice, where we don't get disturbed. And there's a few of us from people like James Stokes, Sam Boom and Steve Singh. We're all sort of concentrating on trying to practice better without being disturbed, and it's helping me. And like I say, I feel like I'm sort of trying to start my game back up again, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. John, it's good to see you. It's good to see you back playing well, and I don't think it's going to be long before you're back in the winner's circle.
Hopefully,
So have a great rest of the weekend, and hopefully we'll see you in the latter stages.
Wicked. Cheers, Nick.
Best of luck,
Thank you.
mate.
Cheers. Thank you. Yeah, I don't
then I can't see close. I've got two problems. He says if you have glazes, the sort of stuff is in there, but then you'll be like that. I thought, playing forward at time, those things are. It is tight. Well, he says we either oh, and he's thinking silly countries. But basically, when you get 12, 50 goals, so I don't well to last that long. Miles away, like 4K. I tried ball. I tried it ball because it's all about these silly descriptions we don't say. But it just felt like I looked down these glasses. I don't know if it's the same with everyone because I've only played with this. So it was focused all. It was all focused into what it was, but it was just like every